The United States is now dealing with one of its biggest labor disputes in more than a decade. Members of the United Auto Workers Union walked off the job at midnight last night at General Motors. Scott is here with more on what these 50,000 or so workers are upset about and why they walked out.
Yeah, this is the first national strike, as you indicated, going back to 2007. So this is a big one, and that number is significant. This is what's making news as well, is that 50,000 number. Take a look at this number, and because this does affect almost 50,000, 49,200 to be precise, and the biggest walk-off since 2007. And before that, we got to go back to the 1970s before we saw this kind of labor movement. This also affects 33 plants that will directly be shut down. Also 22 parts distributors all on hold today. And according to the UAW, they have made sacrifices during the lean times over the last few years. And the big issue that remains unsolved for them is affordable health care. And they said that the benefits for workers have fallen behind the times. They also want better insurance, better pay. And also the UAW say that after years of sacrifice, and GM has made $35 billion in profit over the last 3 years, so they say they want a little bit of the slice now that things are picking up for GM. Here's a union spokesperson.
But General Motors needs to understand that we stood up for GM when they needed us. These are profitable times. We work hard to make this company profitable, and we deserve a fair contract because we've helped make this company what it is.
And what it is they said they stood up for GM. They want GM now to stand up for them. So they are meeting with management again. This is, again, the UAW and management at 10 o'clock Eastern time this morning. GM, for their part, saying that they are making some concessions, but clearly the UAW, Heather, says it's not enough.
So this is UAW. What about CAW? What, if any, is the Canadian reaction? And, of course, Scott, any potential Canadian impact?
This is what we're going to be chasing out this morning, because so far GM has about 2 months worth of supplies in the chain, and there's a very tight chain that goes on between the U.S. and Canada. So we'll see if the parts distribution will be affected here in Canada. We'll chase that down, but Unifor, representing Canadian workers, are watching this very closely as well, coming out with a statement last night supporting their brothers and sisters down in the U.S., saying that the support for negotiations to be fair, contracts settled with General Motors, and the collective agreements between Unifor, representing Canadian GM workers and General Motors, will expire September 2020 and September 2021. So negotiations with GM on behalf of Canadian auto workers will commence next year. And no doubt watching what happens in the U.S. very closely, Heather.
It'd be pretty hard to have CAW reaction when there is no CAW. My apologies, Scott. Of course, it's Unifor now. It just rhymed, or it just went with UAW. Anyway, listen, thank you very much. We'll watch that, as you say, very closely this morning. Scott Peterson.